Advanced Grammar in Use. Martin Hewings.
Unit 19. Need, needn't, don't need to, and don't have to. A. We can use need as an ordinary or a modal verb, followed by a bare infinitive. As a modal verb, it doesn't change its tense and doesn't add s for the third person singular. Compare.
I needed to leave early. Or, she's thirsty. She needs a drink. Equals, ordinary verb, and. You needn't speak so loudly. Equals, modal verb.
When it is a modal verb, need is most commonly used in negative sentences.
I've already cleaned the car, so you needn't bother to do it. I was very nervous before the interview, but I needn't have worried. I got the job.
Other verbs often used with need not, needn't, happily, concern, fear, involve, mean, panic. It is sometimes used in questions, but we prefer to use need as an ordinary verb, or have to.
Need you go so soon?
Equals, modal verb. Less common and rather formal.
Do you need to go so soon?
Equals, ordinary verb. Or,
Do you have to go so soon?
it is rarely used in affirmative sentences. That is, not questions or negatives. But is sometimes found in written English, particularly in fiction.
We need have no fear for Nicole. She can take care of herself.
In other styles of formal written English, it is used in this way with negative words, such as hardly, never, nobody, no one, and only.
The changes need only be small, to make the proposals acceptable.
Less formally, the changes only need to be
Nobody ever need know about the money.
less formally, nobody ever needs to know.
I don't want my parents to know. They need never find out.
Less formally, they never need to find out. B. To give permission not to do something. We can use either needn't or don't need to.
You needn't cut the grass, I'll do it later. Or, you don't need to cut the grass.
To talk about a general necessity, we prefer don't need to.
You don't need to be over 18 to get into a nightclub. Rather than you needn't be.
C. We can often use either needn't or don't have to, with little difference in meaning, to say that it is unnecessary to do something.
You needn't whisper. Nobody can hear us. Or, you don't have to whisper. Nobody can hear us.
However, some people prefer needn't when it is the speaker who decides the lack of necessity, and don't have to when somebody else or external rules make something unnecessary. Compare.
As you worked late yesterday. You needn't come in until 10 tomorrow morning. The speaker's decision. And.
We've been told that we don't have to be at work until 10 tomorrow. Reporting someone else's decision.
D. We can use needn't or don't have to say that something is not necessarily true. We don't use mustn't in this way. See also Unit 18C.
Volcanoes needn't erupt constantly to be classified as active. Or volcanoes don't have to erupt constantly to be classified as active.
Nowadays, it needn't cost a fortune to own an e-book reader. Or nowadays, it doesn't have to cost a fortune to own an e-book reader.
Exercises 19.1. Match the sentence beginnings and ends. Join them with needn't and the bare infinitive of one of the verbs from the box. Bother, change, concern, panic, worry.
I'll give you a lift to the station, so you needn't bother about booking taxi. I'll give you a lift to the station, so you needn't worry about booking a taxi. The questions are in the book, so you needn't bother to copy them down. All the windows have screens, so you needn't panic about being bitten by mosquitoes. All the windows have screens, so you needn't worry about being bitten by mosquitoes. Our software provides full computer security, so you needn't concern yourself with viruses. The new tax laws don't come into force until next year, so you needn't change the details on the form.
(19.2). Rewrite the following in a formal style, using need. It is hardly necessary for us to remind you that the money is now due.
We need hardly remind you that the money is now due.
It is only necessary for us to look at the rainfall figures to see the seriousness of the problem.
We need only look at the rainfall figures to see the seriousness of the problem. Or we only need look at the rainfall figures to see the seriousness of the problem.
With such a lead in the opinion polls, it is hardly necessary for the Democrats to bother campaigning before the election.
With such a lead in the opinion polls, the Democrats need hardly bother campaigning before the election. With such a lead in the opinion polls, the Democrats hardly need bother campaigning before the election.
It is not necessary for anyone to know who paid the ransom to the kidnappers.
No one need know who paid the ransom to the kidnappers.
After such a huge lottery win, it is not necessary for him to work again.
After such a huge lottery win, he need never work again.
(19.3). Underline the more likely option. If the options are equally likely, underline them both.
In most developed countries, people don't need to boil water before they drink it. You needn't walk. I'll give you a lift. You don't need to walk. I'll give you a lift.
I'll email a summary of the lecture, so you needn't take notes. I'll email a summary of the lecture, so you don't need to take notes. You don't need to have a university degree to become a police officer.
You needn't buy me a birthday present. You don't need to buy me a birthday present.
In most cities, you don't need to pay to get into the galleries and museums.
(19.4). Correct any mistakes in the extracts from a speech company to her employees.
You needn't worry about losing your jobs. Do we need to make any changes in company policy? Changes in technology needn't be a problem, but in fact provide opportunities. I don't have to remind you. TTH80 we are competing with 2 other companies. I need hardly tell you how important it is that we get this order. You don't have to cancel your holiday plans. You needn't cancel your holiday plans. We mustn't allow our rate of production to drop. The present financial difficulties needn't mean that people will lose their jobs.
Additional exercise 5, page 242.
อย่าลืมกดกระดิ่งและกดติดตามเพื่อเพิ่มโอกาสในการเรียนรู้